COVID happened and the Airbnb blew up even more because we're only 3 from New York. So all the New Yorkers were coming out to stay because they had the COVID and, and
so locked up.
Right. And I was like, do you don't have to wear a mask? They're like, do you have to wear a mask? We're like, oh, I mean, if you want to, yeah, but it's 30 acres here. So we were really busy. And then before we start talking about when we started building the barn, we had our first wedding. We had friends that their wedding got canceled. And we were like, well, we have a barn and we didn't have anything. It wasn't decorated. It was really like a pole barn, like more like a garage. So yeah, we had the tables and chairs but we like kind of decorated the barn. They helped us like hook up the chandeliers because he was
they were electrician.
We gave him like barely charged them at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we like kind of just started working together to get their wedding done. And that was that. And then Ben was like, I think this could really be a thing.
All right, Annie, Ben, thank you so much for coming on the Venue RX today. I am really excited to chat with both of you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, I'm pumped. I know I was talking to Brandon. He said he had a really fun conversation with you guys before you came on. And I appreciate you coming on. I think it's interesting as we've been getting more venue owners on this show, people are kind of like, what, why are you guys doing this? What's this all about? Are you guys trying to sell us something like that? I have a question for you. This is a question I haven't asked anyone else, but I'm curious. When Brandon first reached out, what was running through your guys' mind?
Spam. Spam.
Yeah, I think the Instagram's on my phone, and I think I was like, Ben, I just got this really interesting thing. I don't know if it's, I assume it's spam, and I clicked on a link, and I clicked on the one of an old podcast. I was like, oh, it's real. And then I was like, what's going to happen if I just say, hey, what's going on? And then it seems like a real person. And so yeah, I definitely didn't think it was real. And I was like, well, who cares about messaging us? Is the other thing. I was like, no one cares about messaging us about our wedding venue. So yeah, but then we kept talking, and he seemed real and like a real human. And
Sweet. He's a very real human. I love that you guys shared that because. It's funny. We had someone come on the show and she actually said the exact same thing that you did, Annie. She said, I showed my husband and she was like, are they going to come out and kidnap me? Like, what's going on here? And so, no, I'm really thankful that you both are coming on the show. And this conversation is just all about your venue and, it's the Real Venue Owner Series. So it is all about your process in venue ownership. And so I'm really curious about the two of you, kind of how you got into the industry. But before we get there, can you just describe your venue for me? What's the name of the venue? Where are you guys located? And we'll start there.
Sure. We're Heron's Hollow, like the bird, because the word hollow is in the street name that we live on. And we, because we're kind of like down low and it's really wet. And there's actually quite a few herons that live on the property and along the stream that's on the property. So we're Heron's Hollow. We're 31 acres. It's pretty like hilly and really nice like terrain and different types of terrain, so it's not flat. Lots of wild animals. You can't see any neighbors. We also have 3 on-site override accommodations, basically like 3 houses, if you can call them houses. 1 main house, a space above the garage, and a space above the barn. 9 bedrooms total, and a decorated 3,200 square foot reception barn. We provide tables and chairs, and we have lots of like extra stuff and like just a weird, you get like a kitchen and like a deep freezer, like all like interesting, cool, like things you wouldn't even think about that make your whole weekend convenient. And then so you can stay on, yeah, and anything that, and along with the wedding venue, we do Airbnb and VRBO, but I know that's not like what we're here for. But anything that you can think of, if you're in someone's house, staying in Airbnb, all of that is included. So our little niche here is that you can stay on the property with 30 people. It sleeps 30 people. And you have access to all of our patios. I mean, thousands of square foot of patios, fire pits, gas grills. It's just kind of like you make a whole weekend out of it. And that's what we do. And it's just absolutely beautiful. I mean, the deer and the bald eagles and it's just a really, really beautifully secluded property, but like Chick-fil-A delivers. And so it's a really cool combination of complete seclusion, but modern conveniences and, like a really just quiet place to, do what you want to do and hang out with your friends and family.
That's incredible. I think I'm interested to hear kind of your journey in venue ownership. How long ago did you start the venue, or did you buy it?
So bought it about 6 years ago. And I'm sorry, we're in South Central Pennsylvania. I didn't even say where we are. 45 minutes north of Baltimore. So you could go, we bought it, it'll be 6 years in August, or 6 years in August. So August of 17, Do you want me to go? Yeah. Okay. Still? Okay, I guess I'm doing okay. He's letting me talk. So it's about 6 years ago, August, we bought it. I was pregnant and Ben was graduating graduate school out of Philly. And so I needed to be around Baltimore for work.
I wanted to move back to the Midwest, and she's from the East Coast, and she was not having the Midwest. So I wanted to buy a farm in the Midwest, and she was like, yeah, I think we should stay on the East Coast because of my family. And she found this farm, basically.
Yeah, because I was like, if we could stay near Baltimore, I'll live on whatever you want to live on. Because he's like a bow hunter. He's kind of like old school, outdoorsy type of guy from the Midwest. So I was like, I'll live on any property you want, but if I can be within an hour of Baltimore, I'll be happy. And so we found it relatively in our price range, but for 31 acres, you could walk out the back door because it's about 15 acres tillable and then 50 acres wooded. So, less, like I said, deer and everything like that. So, trying to make him happy, I needed to stay on the East Coast, and I was like, here's some land. And so we did it. And honestly, it really worked. And to actually answer your question, how do we get started? He's the entrepreneur and he's creative. He's got all the ideas, and he was trying for about 2 years to figure out how to make money.
I read books. Joel Salatin, he was like, the guy that does like regenerative farming and things like that. So I read all these books on how to, farm and sell chickens or raise beef. And it was all very labor intensive, right? And I knew that I couldn't commit that much time to it. And then we renovated the kitchen.
Right. So the main house, what we call the main house, is the 4-bedroom old farmhouse, and it's
built in 1889.
Yeah, right, yeah. 1889, and it's really great. But it has all the modern amenities. But the first floor was, if you know farmhouses, it was 3 rooms, and the kitchen was I don't know, like 8 feet. It was ridiculous. So we were like, let's renovate the heck out of this. Let's blow out all the walls. But we were like, we really don't want to live here while that's happening. And we're talking like horsehair plaster, ripping out the ceiling, the whole thing. And so what we did was the second floor of the garage was finished. It was about 1,200 square feet. It was already finished. It had a full bath. We ended up taking all the appliances out of the existing kitchen and turned one of the part of the space of the garage into a kitchenette. And then we made it into 2 bedrooms. And we lived there while we were doing the renovations. And then
3 months.
It was like 2 to 3 months. It was, yeah. And then Teddy turned 1 while we were there, which is why I was, Brandon knows I completely got the years wrong. I was like, I don't remember the year my son was born, but that's okay. So we had Teddy's first birthday in there, and we were like moving out back into the house, and Ben was like, the whole time we were there, we're like, it's so cozy in here. It's great because you're up in the window and you can see the pond, and it's just like awesome. Because the farmhouse is like no windows. We were putting windows in, but it was no farm. And so we were like, we really loved it in there. And Ben goes, I'm going to put those on Airbnb. And I was like, that's dumb. I was like, that's really dumb. No one's going to come to
York, Pennsylvania.
Stewartstown, Pennsylvania. No one's going to come to Stewartstown, Pennsylvania. Nobody cares. And he was like, F you, I'm doing it. And so he put it on Airbnb. And I was like, your listing stinks. This is how the relationship is. He has the idea, he starts executing it, and then I fix it. Because I'm like, oh man, that was a good idea. And then like I'll edit it, and then it's wildly successful. Okay, so we can kind of like speed this up. I'm talking.
And I'm curious. So I want to just go back because we jumped into the story, but I think it's important to understand the 2 of your backgrounds because. Okay. So, and Ben, you're from the Midwest. Where again are you from?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because you're talking about, buying the 31 acres and doing the renovation and all these different things. And like, that's no small undertaking. I mean, this is like some big stuff. Is this something you decided on a whim? Have you ever done anything like this before? Give us a little bit of like personal background as far as the 2 of you professionally, personally, add whatever details you want. But give us kind of pre-purchase of the property, what a little bit about you and what led you or inspired you to do this. And then I'm also curious, what's the plan to have a wedding venue or like an Airbnb, or it was just
Yeah.
That's I know I'm taking too long building up.
It was very organic.
Okay.
It was a little slow, which is why I think we've actually been successful. We took it very, very slow. But he wants us to go first, and then we should have like the first wedding in COVID. But so you want to
tell him about your background?
My background in construction. I don't have a background. He does. His father's a wildly successful carpenter. Yeah, in St. Louis. So, and he was we were on a roof at 4 or whatever. Because
So, but Annie and Ben, I'm curious. Like, what is your professional background? Like, what did you do prior to owning a venue?
We have no business running a wedding venue, essentially is what he's getting at. So I'm just joking. I grew up outside of Boston. I went to college for engineering, and then I ended up going to the Air Force, and I'm actually a pilot. So I was a pilot in the Air Force for a long time, 11 years active, 4 years in the Guard. Technically still in, but I don't fly for the Air Force anymore. Now I fly for Southwest, and I've been at Southwest for about over 7 years now. So that's about it. So construction, not so much.
Yeah. I grew up in St. Louis, worked for my dad, basically, until I went into the military right after high school. And then I was in the military, Air Force as well. That's where we met for 5 years. And then got out, went to graduate school, became a PA, and landed.
Yeah. What did you fly, Annie?
In the Air Force, I flew KC-135s, the mid-air refueler. So I get gas in the air, and then now I fly the 737, which is what Southwest flies.
That's awesome. And Ben, were you flying, or what were you doing in the Air Force?
No, I was a medic firefighter, so I did that kind of stuff.
Cool. I haven't really said this on the podcast, but my dad always, for my whole life, even now, does defense contracting work, and he for a while did a lot of flight test stuff for the F-22 or the F-35, I guess.
Oh, nice.
So
Edwards a lot?
Yeah, that's how we ended up in California, actually, because I'm from Texas. So, yeah, it was like a 6-month temporary duty assignment that turned into forever. Well, yeah, we're gonna hopefully move out of California here soon, but very, very cool. So then, you find this property, you decide you're thinking about moving back to the Midwest, want to stay East Coast, found the property. Did you know you wanted land? Like, did you have land or a big property before?
No. Well, I did, as a kid, or I guess a teenager. My dad owned a farm up in Missouri.
Okay.
Right. And so every weekend I would spend up working at the farm. So, there was no doubt in my mind that that's what I wanted.
The land. Yeah, I was always, I deserve a little bit of credit. Maybe.
Because dad wanted us to go small.
He was like, maybe 5 acres. I was like, I think we should blow it out of the water. We should buy a lot of land.
Yeah. 30 acres in Pennsylvania is actually, in our part of Pennsylvania is quite a bit. Yeah.
Because we're only 45 from Baltimore, so it's not that remote. So, but yeah, so that's the background. It's, you're married. It's like, if you're going to do that, we'll go on a farm. I don't, the house had the air conditioning, so it was all good.
As long as not water.
Nice.
And the AC. So you buy the property, then you start doing the renovation. So, and at this point, you're not necessarily thinking about weddings. You're not thinking about Airbnbs per se. Ben, it was kind of your idea. Hey, let's put this on Airbnb. At that point, it seems like you kind of made a transition to start thinking about the property in terms of more of an entrepreneurial venture. Would that be accurate?
Well, he had been honestly working through it for about a year.
I think since we bought it.
He had been trying to, he was not like, I'm not like he failed.
No.
Really day one, he was like, how can I make this land that make me money?
Pay for itself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So then we did the Airbnb.
And it was 2020.
No, it was 2019. And
right, and then COVID a year later.
And then
it was very successful.
And then it worked out really good.
Really good.
People really liked it.
Yeah. And then a year later was am I skipping?
Yeah, go ahead.
And then a year later, because we got to move on to the wedding. Yeah. So a year later it was COVID happened, and the Airbnb blew up even more because we were getting New York, because we're only 3 from New York. So it's like it's just an interesting location. So all the New Yorkers were coming out to stay because they had the curfew for COVID, and
so locked up.
Right, and I was like, "Do you don't have to wear a mask?" They're like, "Do you have to wear a mask?" We're like, "Oh, if you want to, yeah, but it's 30 acres here." So, So we were really busy. And then before we start talking about when we started building the barn, we had our first wedding. We had friends that their wedding got canceled.
Because of COVID.
Right, COVID. And we were like, well, we have a barn. And we didn't have anything. It wasn't decorated. It was really like a pole barn, like more like a garage.
I went and bought like a fountain for the pond. Like in this.
Yeah, you bought a fountain for the pond, and then you went and bought like tables and chairs. No, they rented it the first wedding they rented.
Did they?
Well, they had round tables or or we had the tables and they didn't have them anyway. Yeah. Right. So he was like, well, and
during COVID, it was a hot time to be on auctions, right? Because like, especially that anything that included like large groups of people, for example, tables and chairs, they were going for nothing, like white chairs were going for like $10-12 a chair prior to COVID. And then you could get them for like $5 or $6. What did I pay? $6?
I can't. I was like, you're again. I was like,
she's like, what are you doing? It's stupid.
So what? He was spending like all this money on tables and chairs. Like, you don't even know what are you doing. He was like, I think this is good. I was like, and then he went and did anyway, because why not? And then, so yeah, we had the tables and chairs, but they ended up renting round tables, and it didn't matter. But we like kind of decorated the barn. They helped us like hook up the chandeliers because he was
they were electricians.
We gave him like barely charged them at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we like kind of just started working together to get their wedding done, and that was that. And then Ben was like, I think this could really be a thing.
That's when I hired.
And that's when it's you hired. Oh yeah. Oh right. And then like the LLC, I mean, that comes later, but I mean,
no, that was
well, so, and then, but this is important. This is because the series is really about kind of the process that venue owners go through, and there's no right way, right? It's a hodgepodge of experiences based on where you're kind of meeting the industry. So at this point, you said you saw the wedding happen, you went through that process, and was that like, hey, this could be a thing? Did you start doing research? Did you hire a consultant? Did you hire an attorney? I heard you kind of say. What was the next step?
The attorney was for contract and like what are we going to be liable? How do we do this? Like
no,
I thought it was.
No, the attorney was to get us an approval through the
township. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Pennsylvania is a commonwealth, so it's all townships, and luckily we're in a good township that doesn't have they're not like super strict on things. But I had asked them about the Airbnbs back in 2018, I think.
And right in early you did, yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we don't have any restrictions on that. Right. And then I asked them about wedding venues, and they're like, well, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to get an approval through the zoning hearing board and like the planning commission. So then we showed up actually the first time, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And they're like, yeah, come back with an attorney. Right? Remember?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were going to make a big deal. They were going to.
They're like, yeah, it's not that easy. You need to come back with an attorney. So one of my good buddies is he's a real estate attorney, and basically, kind of teed it up for us. And we went through. Well, that was a zoning. No, that was a planning commission.
Right. And then they had to go to the zoning board.
Yeah. So then I had him for the zoning board.
Right.
Yeah. So then when we went to the zoning board, they were a little, it was.
Wait, these are the people that think Airbnb means I'm making them breakfast.
Right.
That's where the.
Yeah, it's a little hillbilly. Like, they were like, are you going to have Antifa?
Yeah, man,
Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm fine. I don't know. What is they're free country. Like, what are you talking about?
Like, you're giving me ideas.
Yeah, my attorney actually, and the township's attorney was like, pause, get out now. And went and talked to the people, and we're like, dude, you cannot say that. Like, not okay. Like, this, you cannot bring up Antifa, Black Lives Matter. So anyways, then they approved us for having weddings, and then we had to do the land development plan.
Yeah. So it's just like a lot of paperwork. I think in the meantime, we were like, I mean, hopefully no one sees this. We were letting your nursing friends get married.
Yeah.
Well,
And so
Some of that stuff is just some of that stuff is kind of, I don't think that there is a venue owner on here that didn't do some version of that. So I'll just put you at ease on that one. But I'm really quickly, before you go on, Annie, I'm curious, is the township that you're in, was it difficult to deal with? Like, are they going to run you through a really long process? I guess what I'm getting at is if you had to give your younger selves advice, now knowing what you know, going back and kind of giving someone else advice on the process, were there things you would have done differently, things you kind of like race for impacts, save more money, hire a vet?
So I have an answer to this. I think we did the best. I think we did the best we could. I mean, the only thing we could have done was have like a relative on the board, like, cause they're so small.
It's so small.
It's so small town. Like, I don't actually think us coming in as young professionals did us any favors.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is.
And they kept telling us that they would say, you guys are more like New York City, where we're more like Alabama. So we're like,
I don't, what is that? Like, I don't. So, like, honestly, especially like with my mouth and my attitude, like, nobody likes that. There. And, I mean, we have stories that our scammer.
I don't know if there's anything we would have done.
I actually don't think there is, honestly. I actually think we did it the best we could. I think with us.
Yeah, I mean, they were so sloppy.
And I'm totally willing to debrief myself.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
And the thing is, it depends on like the time of day and who they're friends with and who said this and who knows who. And so, like, I don't think we actually could have. If it was a different situation or a different location, I could probably, like, we could have gone the lawyer first, or like it was. But the way they run it, like, nothing's online. Like, I had to find the definition of something. I had to literally go in and like read it on like pink old like 1970s paper.
Yeah.
Like nothing,
like Bobby, the split.
Yeah. Like fax machines, and it's like, can I send you a picture? No. So it's like, it's so antiquated that I think we kind of did the best we could.
Fair. So it sounds like a summary statement about this would be that if for a venue owner, a new venue owner who's listening to this, or even someone who's maybe looking to buy a second venue or whatever, really it's like, be prepared to be really patient, because the process of working with a township or the county could be really like antiquated and frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, and there's going to be people like, what about the kids and the traffic and there's so many.
It's not fast. Yeah, no, it's not fast.
Our saving grace was that we had the Airbnbs and that was approved, and we didn't and this is probably going to be like a common thread through, where it's like, we have the Airbnbs and thank goodness. Because if something happened to the wedding, if the wedding's dropped off, or, they said no, like we know we're legal, and they do bring, a good income for us.
And it was funny because one of the neighbors, David, actually was there, and he goes, back in our day, we would have just, done this. We wouldn't ask for permission. I was like, yeah, well,
we're trying to do the right.
We were trying to do everything up on the up and up.
Yeah.
I mean, from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really,
with everything.
Yeah. Which is like surprising, because we're kind of people like, well, like, what, it's my 30 acre league that, but,
yeah.
But
beg for forgiveness versus ask for permission, right?
Right.
So yeah. So in the meantime, unless you want to keep asking, if you want to go back a little bit, I don't have to keep going.
No, that's perfect. So keep the story going. We're getting towards kind of like what you do now, how it's all set up now, because, after a couple of years, I'm assuming you've put some systems in place and done some different things. Yeah. So tell me, actually this would be cool. And we can kind of go back. Where are you at now? 2023, mid 2023, how many weddings do you have booked? Tables and chairs on site?
Yeah. So we're really exclusive, meaning not that we're super awesome or bougie, but that we only do 10 a year, right? Because
we don't outsource anything.
We're both there for the weddings, and we have little kids, we have professions of our own, and we want to make sure that, like, when people get married, like that's a special day, right? And so we really want to make sure that it runs smoothly. So I don't know.
Wait, so now we've already had 3. One was really small. We already had 3. We have four. I think we have 5 or 6 more. this year. So no summer. Oh yeah, we had a huge, like crazy like Indian wedding. It was really cool. It was like a 3-day event. It was really, really cool. So we did that, and then we have morphed into, because the main house, which sleeps like 15, we just started offering that to the brides and the grooms, and with the weddings like in April. So we had to get the house ready for that. So now you can sleep 30 people. So now we're this, like, and I kind of mentioned it, in my preview for you, like we're this exclusive, very interesting niche venue where we don't really want you to have a 1-day wedding. Yeah. That's not, we don't pump out weddings. We want you to come Thursday or Friday, have a rehearsal, get yourself set up, here are your tables and chairs and the bar, set yourself up, have pizza, whatever you want to, even if it's formal ritual, that's fine. You wake up, your hair and makeup gets done Saturday morning in the space you just slept in on the property, you party, and then you sleep there that night. And you can have your entire family, depending on how big of a group your family friends are, you can sleep on property. And a lot of people, it's just an interesting, I might be jumping ahead or not, but we're trying to figure out how to market this now, because it's really evolved into something very different now that you can sleep 30 people. It's just a very different wedding now. And the overnight accommodations are, I'm not saying I'm priced expensive, but they are expensive. If you're going to sleep 30 people in a hotel, that's a lot. So when I'm trying to price it, we're having a hard time pricing and marketing to people who want to have a whole weekend wedding. Because some people, depending on their money situation, they want to have, only 8 hours and then they get out because that's the right price. So it's just interesting. That's where we're at.
That's just not us. Like,
I don't want to pump out.
I think for a multitude of reasons, right? We're just not a dog track. We don't want it to be rushed, right?
Because we've done 1-day weddings, and they're trying to save money, and I'm like, well, where are you going to get ready? So do you want to get ready on property? Okay, well, if you need to use the rooms, that's more money, or and they're like, well, I'll come ready, and then it's like kind of a nightmare, and they're
for point of comparison, or just like for some perspective, how much, if I wanted to get married on the property, and by the way, I absolutely love what you guys are doing with this. Like my wife's best friend from college and her roommate got married at a similar place as your property in Montana. So it was a woman who did the exact same thing, went out, did the thing, renovated a home, gorgeous home. And then we all came into the area. We stayed in different Airbnbs. We had to drive like half an hour to the venue, but the venue, and she has a massive family. So they all stayed at his side and her side.
Right.
My wife's best friend, they stayed on property. And it was like 20, I think they had like 28 people on site, but it was the coolest thing ever. We went on the lake. It was a multi-day thing. So I love it. I think it's actually I think a lot of people want to do it. I think that's kind of the way that a lot of different places, depending on where you are, of course, a lot of ways that people are starting to do more. They want an experience more than just, hey, we're going to get married. So love what you guys are doing, but where are you at in terms of price point? Like if I was going to get married, I'm going to be one of your 10 weddings. How much am I spending for the whole cake?
The whole weekend. So Friday through Sunday, table shares, everything we have. You can sleep 30 people. We can provide a coordinator. You're between like 12 and 14,000.
Hey,
nope. That's a cheap face.
Cheap. Yeah, I'm going to get married a second time. Actually, we set up for a wedding. We'll bring all our kids.
Yeah. No kids allowed. I'm just joking. I even have a bouncy house.
We went to the Baltimore wedding?
Yeah, we went to the Baltimore wedding.
So was it DC on? And who told us that it was Baltimore? She goes, you guys are underpriced.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, we don't really care.
Yeah. And so here's, I don't know if you want me to get into this.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the price point, here's a problem. And sorry, York County, Pennsylvania. The local girls, okay, he's got to go to the bathroom. Yeah. The local girls don't necessarily need the overnight accommodations. And so they don't really want to spend the money on, because you're looking like that's at least $3,000-$4,000 like, 30 people got to stay somewhere. We talked about it. Yeah. And so they don't really want the overnight accommodation. They don't want to pay for it. So I'm trying to figure out, like, if I can get, DC brides who want the farm wedding, bring your 30 people up, and we're only 7 minutes from a hotel that you can block, a nice hotel that you can block rooms at. So that's kind of where we're at. And it's a funny thing where it's like, we're still new, so we're not like worried about it. But how do we market that, and where do because I know I can start charging it, but the local York County knows they're not going to pay it. Because they're going to go to Pine Ridge Farm because their bar is beautiful and it's, $6,000 for 7 hours.
Yeah.
So, okay. But, and that's where it's like, you build it, they will come, maybe. So we're kind of like just taking it slow because taking it slow has worked so well.
Yeah.
Like, especially with we haven't got because the barn area, we completely renovated the barn area. That's everyone's favorite space.
What's included when someone gets married there? What is my $12,000 buying me?
Okay. So the 3 Airbnbs or VRBOs, whatever, we're on both. So overnight accommodations for 2 nights for 30 people.
Okay.
Tables and chairs. I have tablecloths. Wow, I have like 3 arches you can use. We have like a pavilion. You get married anywhere you want to get married on the property. We have like a little pavilion. That's like handmade stone, or whatever. Hand built, excuse me. Oh gosh. Where's my flyer? I'm like zoning. I'm like, how about here? Okay, here's share tablecloth arches center. I have wood rounds. I have ball jars. I have flowers. I have the twinkle lights in the barn. It's all decorated. I have the chandeliers and then anything that you want to use during there for you. It's interesting because we kind of have 2 companies. So I have the wedding. Let's just say it's on a Saturday, but Friday night you have access to the 3 patios and the fire pits and the whole thing and the pond so Saturday you have 150 people come and then they leave, but you can still hang out and use everything. So you're looking at deep freezers and commercial fridges and I have like a sweetheart table and I have like the wheel thing I have a bar with the barrels and I have so many accessories that the problem is the brides leave and they're like, that was worth every penny. But like, I can't, how do I market that before they show up? Yeah. Like, it was so easy. You're like, yeah. And so it's just, really almost anything you can think of. The only thing that's not included is like a DJ. You can bring we don't have any restriction on alcohol or catering. You can have, I keep telling them you can have Aunt Linda bring a pot of chili. It doesn't matter. If that's how you want to save money, that's fine. There's a really expensive venue down the road and I price matched it because they're a restaurant and this girl was like, I'm only gonna have 30 people. I only want 5 bedrooms. So I gave her 2 of the smaller Airbnbs and I price matched them. Yeah, they were going to charge like $90 a head for food. Yeah. And they were going to make her do that. And I was like, so here's your soundbite. Like Ben and I, the ironic thing is we're not a fan of traditional weddings. Like these people spend all this money to come see you get married and they see you for like an hour and then you leave for a hotel room. Like, it's such like a waste. You make all these friends and then you don't even get to like see them that day. And so we're kind of like being like we feel like we're like stewards to a different type of wedding. It's like, it's just such a weird thing to feel, but we're both like, we kind of hate those types of weddings. And it's, this is the type of thing that we would want to do.
Well, we can get married.
We didn't get married like that at all. Yeah. We can't, if we go into that, that's going to be weird.
I'm curious. You opened up Pandora's box.
I know, that's it. Good job, hon.
We went to New Orleans.
There was like 35 people.
Her parents lived in Cape Cod or had a house in Cape Cod, and my parents lived in St. Louis.
So it was going to be like a destination wedding.
Like this argument of, where you go. Yeah. We're going to New Orleans.
So we
want to come.
So we made reservations. We ate at Restaurant August, like super delicious. We just got a bigger room. I had like a 3-piece like jazz band play, and then we partied on Bourbon Street as our reception. Yeah, like we just went out. Yeah, and so meet the food, music, and I actually flew my friend in for pictures. Like that's what I spent the most money on, and that was it. I was like, I want pictures. I want people to eat what they want and listen to what they want for music, and so that's kind of more did.
I don't think, and you guys are totally a testament to this, I don't think that there is a right way to get married. You know what I mean? Like you need to do what works for you, your budget, your friends, your family, like the vision that you have. And I love that. Like you guys made that happen. You said, you wanted some photos. So you flew your friend in who was going to take the photos. You knew you wanted to look a certain way. And, I think some people do want that very traditional look. Some people want it to be very non-traditional. And, I think that's the beauty of this industry. Like it spans all of those types of experiences. So we've gone through a little bit of the packages and things like that. Walk me through how you handle having people on site with your family as well. Has that ever been an issue?
No, so we don't. So when we have an event, like we're not, the kids are gone and we offer the house to stay. So we stay somewhere else. Both.
Vacation.
Yeah. So, but before that, when we didn't offer the main house, it really wasn't a problem at all, even through the Airbnb, because the main house, like I said, has only been offered since like April. So,
and let me ask, I had to ask a better question because I asked it in a way that I totally didn't mean it. Now hearing you respond, have you had issues? Like, as I've talked to other venue owners who either live on property or, the venue is here and they live at the adjacent property or something like that. Sometimes there's some friction because people don't treat the property. They kind of treat it as a rental. And so they don't treat it with the same care and value. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Learned so much on weddings.
Well, I think in the beginning when we were doing them, it's like you're looking at your clock, right? And
they signed a contract of when the music's supposed to be off.
And it's 10 o'clock. Okay, the music's supposed to be off by 9:30. Like, come on. Okay, it's 10:30. Like, okay, do we have to go out and talk to them? Like, you don't want to do that, right? But it's, I think it's like,
and this is where
this is where it's so nice where we're not there, right? We just have cameras everywhere, right? So we know what's going on.
That's where it would be nice to actually outsource.
Yeah.
Where it's like the old.
Oh, we have it.
We actually, yeah. So now we're starting to like where I have like a couple of college kids, like, okay, I leave at 5 and now you're here and you're closing up at 11 and you're my rep. So you can go be like, the owners told you, and it's easier for them to do because they're getting paid and it's not me. Right. So that's been, so I think everyone's been relatively respectful in terms of like not necessarily damaging anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
We haven't had too much bad luck. I mean, of course, the Airbnbers, it depends. I mean, we've had, broken couches and, dogs.
Yeah, but the weddings haven't been that.
They've been real lucky.
No, they've been, the people have been generally respectful. Yeah.
Awesome. What do you require in terms of insurance? And I know it sounds like you have a contract in place that they sign for like use of the property, certain times, things like that. What do you have in terms of insurance? Do you ask people to get insurance for the use?
Yeah, I do day of event insurance. I ask them to get day of event insurance. And then I'm just like extra covered. Like I have the umbrella policy and I just have.
Yeah. And then when they book their Airbnbs, right, they still.
We have them book the Airbnbs in conjunction with the wedding so that if something happens.
Got it.
Airbnb, I can be like, okay, even if you weren't in there, your groomsmen were, and I cleanly had to clean up, whatever it is. And so then if they're not willing to pay, I can go through Airbnb and then it gets paid because I take pictures and we document it. So that's a really nice backup.
Luckily, knock on wood, we haven't had to use any of the day of event insurance.
Oh yeah, no, it's been great. Yeah.
And that's it's nice because it's there, in case something does happen. But hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, nothing like that's happening. So I'm curious for the two of you, just the way that you've done this so far. I think it's neat. I love how you guys are like working together on this. Love your personalities. I'm curious, as you've seen this thing evolve, do you feel like eventually you keep, I know you don't want to be like you said dog track, a wedding mill, right? You don't want to just pump out a bunch of weddings, but you still have, maybe 40 weekends you could do. I mean, I don't know. Is that in the cards for you guys? Like, are you interested in that, or do you want to keep it at 12?
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's about the price. I think it's more about the time.
It's a combination because if we can get more money, then we can outsource more.
Well, I think
it's not our
combination of the money and the time, right? I mean, that's everything, right? And if the kids weren't so small, like I would say yes,
we could do more,
right?
Well, and let's just assume that you had some great people there who were going to run it for you, and let's assume that you double the price or even triple the price.
Yeah, we would run ever.
I told you it's not money. Did you see that? Yeah. Like you go double, triple. He's like, every weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're pulling at 20 or 30K every weekend. Yeah, I mean, no question. Yeah.
Oh shit.
And the thing is that, we just renovated the bar.
The reception bar.
Like the reception bar. The 3,200 square foot bar. So we redid the floors.
We put HVAC.
We put HVAC in. We put a commercial kitchen in. We put toilets in. We put a new patio in. Like, we sunk $50,000 into the barn.
I mean, this time, and we put more money, like, the original.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, minimum.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, if I had a good team.
No, I really want to hear this question.
I'm curious. And feel free to just ballpark me, but just to help me have an understanding of what it took to get in the property financially. Was it something that you went to an SBA, you did an SBA loan, or no, it was more like a personal?
It's our main residence, yeah.
Got it. So you didn't go.
Technically, it's a VA loan because we have the VA loan.
Yeah. But it wasn't like going to the SBA and like, hey, look at our business plan. We want to do Airbnbs. Like that was the evolution side of it, and it was more you bought the 30 acres, 31 acres because it was like this is great. We wanted a farm or we wanted a bigger property. Okay.
It was really more organic. Where it's like we have these little kids and there's a stream. We have chickens and we have ducks and like we can raise the kids here and they can eat dirt and it'll be good for them.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be stuck inside. And really, that's how it really started. And then, Ben can walk out the back door and bow hunt. And so, yeah.
Very cool. So that's how you purchased it. Down payments, stuff like that was just savings. Did you guys do you have to use other loan vehicles? Just kind of the finance side.
In Philly.
So we bought a house in
downtown Philly,
northern Philly, Fishtown, and we bought it during like the beginning phases of gentrification up there. And we bought it for $340, I think, and we sold it for like $480.
2 years later,
and we didn't do anything to it. So
it was like a new build, right?
Yeah, because we bought our first house in Wichita, Kansas, and we made money on that because I fixed that up. And then we moved to Philly. Yeah, we took that money and we moved to Philly. And I went to graduate school and we made money there. And then we took all of that.
And we said that the only reason we could afford the farm was because of Philly. The money we made
was because of Philly and Wichita.
Well, yeah, right. The whole process, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah. So we've been very, very lucky with the real estate decisions and
yeah. I mean, super lucky. The timing has been great.
I think this is another lucky decision for you guys because honestly, I think there's a lot of wiggle room, and I'm curious. I'm sure people, comment, and there's maybe people have some ideas as well. But I'm curious what the audience thinks. I think you'd probably triple the price. And because it's such if you're interested in you're only doing 10, even if you're doing 15, 20, you just have a lower ceiling to crack. It's a different scenario than if you get into a property and you have to make immediately a $40,000 payment. And so you start doing the math. You're like, okay, I can charge $10,000, and then I have to do, this many weddings, and I have to do at least 4 to cover my base. I'm like, so.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you make, because I don't think we would have dove as deep as we did if Airbnb wasn't produced as much as it was.
So
because that carries like everything.
Everything, yeah. I mean, it's just like if we don't.
If we don't book a wedding,
it's gonna book.
All right, yeah.
Like it's when I was gonna hire someone to do like a Facebook ad. And, they were like, oh, we can help you book 1,000 weddings. And we're like, we don't want that. And he was like, so how many weddings do you need to book? And we both looked at each other and we went, none.
Yeah.
Because if the real goal, and, we might need to shift, but we're so pleased with how well we've done so slowly. The goal was I just want to pay the mortgage. And so my dad, who's a, money fiend, is like, what about the cost of the money and the cost of living there and the lawn? And we're always like, no, we get that, but we would be paying for that anyway. And so we're more I don't know what's a good word for that. Dumb. I don't it's not dumb, but it's more purist about we really just want the mortgage paid for.
Or lackadaisical.
Yeah, it's like, it's okay. And we were definitely getting, even without the weddings, we have the mortgage and more paid for by the Airbnbs. And so that might actually be holding us back or not, because it's helping us take it slow. And from the first Airbnb, then the weddings, and then the second Airbnb, and now the main house, The only reason we can even charge them is because now we have a main house, this beautiful main house with 1,000 square foot patio that we put in when we lived, earlier when we lived there. And when we first started living there. It's just like this amazing, now it's like this whole property thing is very new to us and my brides.
Well, we both like have very stressful jobs.
Yeah.
Right. So for us to be like, let's
Crank it up, full throttle. It's like, like full throttle all day, like I don't need to be there.
You're right. And that's where like, what's going to come first? Is it going to be, I can get a $14,000 wedding. Okay. I can do it. And now I can hire somebody more regularly. And, but we're also like, we don't want to lose any money. Like but we also have to know what our limits are. Yeah.
I love it. Awesome. Well, Annie, Ben, I'm going to ask you the question that I ask everyone. It's your favorite part of venue ownership, because you're definitely venue owners. I see a lot more weddings in your future. I know it's a slow process. I know it's a slow thing, but it sounds like a really cool thing that you've built so far. And you bought the property. You're 6 years in at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm curious about your favorite and your least favorite part of venue ownership, and then we'll wrap with that today.
No way. I'm not ready. So you
wait. We need 4 answers here, because I want to hear Annie's favorite and least favorite, and Ben's. They go both. Yeah.
Wait, like just the ownership or like the events?
The events, like owning it could be either one, like the events on property or just the venue ownership, but specifically as it relates to.
Yeah.
I think my favorite. I think my favorite is, oh man, I'm going to be so mad later when I think about this again.
The day after.
You didn't even prep me for this. You should have.
The day after.
No, that's your favorite, the day after.
No, that takes you.
No, I was going to say getting the pictures.
Yeah. Okay. Get pictures back after the. Yeah.
I love that. Cause the pole barn needs to work, but it's not like it's a bar wedding, but like the property and the pictures that come out of the property are like the most spectacular. It's ridiculous how awesome the pictures are. And we get our I'll get our annual pictures taken there too with the kids.
She probably doesn't know this, but my favorite is probably like a little bit of a baby when they get married. Like I actually really like that. Like, when they walk down the aisle, like, yeah, she's making fun of me.
He's the emotional one.
I do. I like that. I like that. That's really nice.
Oh, bud.
Yeah.
That's what you would say. That's cute.
And then the least favorite part. What's the part that just grinds your gears?
I think like people being disrespectful.
Okay.
Honestly, that's probably would be better if I was a little more hands off, because there's just one time I had a girl go, "Is the staff gonna put my chairs like in the place?" I was like, I guess I'm the staff. I paid the mortgage, but it was like they, I don't know. I think it's just like the disrespect. But it's such an emotional day. Like people are so, high strung and they don't mean it, but they could be nicer.
Mine is the pure uncertainty of anything that could happen.
That could happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a large pond, lake on the property. And I worry about, kids getting into that, or, a fire or something. My mind goes a million places. Like, so I think it's just the uncertainty of any event when you have a large group of people. Yeah.
Totally. Just the exposure points. I totally can relate to that. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on today. This has been so much fun getting to know you a little bit more, the property. We're going to have links to your website, social media, all that stuff in the descriptions on both podcast side of things and YouTube. So I really encourage the audience to go check it out. But if they have questions for you, or they are interested in booking the property, I would highly recommend everyone book the property now before
prices go up.
Because I'm going to get off this call right now and encourage them to raise their prices a little bit. But for real, please go check out their venue. It's so gorgeous. Is there a preferred way that y'all like to be reached out to?
Honestly, it's me. Whatever you do, it's going to be like, come right to my phone. If you go to heronshollow.com, all one word, or heronshollow@gmail. So, and that's all. My phone number's on the website. Phone number, all my email, it's all there. So HeronshOllow, heronshollow.com is the website, but then you can find my email address there too. So
Cool. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the Venue Arts today. This has been fun.
thank you so much. Yeah, it was
Thank
a
you.
great time.
Appreciate it.
We document and share best practices around owning, operating, and managing world-class wedding venues.